Richie, there are some rumors swirling that some big money is coming to college football. Of course, a Knoll, Drew Rutherford, at the forefront of it. But thoughts on, and we'll jump into this pretty deep and talk about what it could mean for the sport and for Florida State specifically. But thoughts on big money, private equity coming to college football? I was asked about this, and so I already have a take, but I'm kind of interested if we agree or disagree on this in general.
Kind of mixed feelings. Like I do, Florida State needs the money obviously right now, trying to get out of the ACC, but I don't like the idea. It's almost like, signing up for a credit card with a 30% interest rate or something, because you are kind of owned at that point by whatever firm you go with. And, we joke about the Saudi noles and all that. And, we talk about Live Golf, and it's, if we have to do it, I'm all for it. Like if that's the only step to move forward to get to one of the Power Two conferences, then I'm all for it. But man, I hope that's a last line of resort, like the last possible option. But I think it very well could come to that. And I think Drew Weatherford is on board. He's on the board of trustees. And I think that's a very real option for Florida State. Again, I'm on board if that's all we have, but ideally, I'd like to avoid that.
So does it make you feel, I mean, you talk about what it means for Florida State specifically and like trying to get to the Power Two and all that. Does it make you feel a little bit better if like the reports are that some of these private equity firms or the private equity firm that may kind of undertake some of this has met with like 50 different schools. And so it's not just an FSU's looking into this thing. Like it sounds like some of the top brands and a lot of the top schools in college football may be open to this. Does it make you feel a little bit better that we wouldn't be going it alone maybe?
Yeah, I hate what's that meme? The worst person made a great point. Like I hate to give credit to Matt Baker of the Tempe Times, but he kind of broke the story that Drew Rutherford has kind of met with like 50 plus ads in secret that nobody knew about until the story broke last week. But yeah, that does make me feel a lot better. If that's the way college football as a whole is going, it might not be the greatest thing, but let's go for it. Let's do it. I'm on board. But yeah, if Florida State was the only one doing it, I would definitely not be happy about it. But it does sound, to your point, TJ, that a lot of schools are seriously considering this, and I'm all in. Like whatever it takes for Florida State to remain competitive in football, that's all I care about.
Yeah, I wonder so much. Like you think about, I mean, there's so if I take like a 100% like silver lining positive look at this, and I say like, man, the sport is changing and differently than we've ever seen it, and and to go to your point, right? Like if I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate with you and say like, oh well, the private equity like kind of owns you at that point, and is this a good move long term? What does it do for the actual sport? I think there have been a lot of people that have kind of like owned college football for a long time, and they've been the ones to collect in all the revenue and the money, and like the NCAA and these conference commissioners and these folks at these universities, and there's been a lot of money that stayed in the good old boys circle, and I think our sport from an organizational level, I don't necessarily mean what happens on Saturday, but I do think our sport, like kind of high level, is broken. And if you don't agree with that, then whatever. But we have pay for play now. We have legalized pay for play. We have a transfer portal that is an absolute disaster. Coaching salaries like through the roof and just absurd the way that they've skyrocketed the last several years. And we're about to get to a point where we're paying players. Which is great. Like I don't have any problem with that. But you look at the private equity, that the money that it may bring in and the marketing and growth that could take place with it. Some of these guys have worked in professional sports and seen tremendous growth in professional sports. Would it be possible, and I don't mean the actual game, right? Like what happens on Saturdays, but would it be possible for some of this money that's injected to help our sport rise and have better leadership behind it than what college football has had forever, right? And people get so scared of like, oh, what if this looks like the NFL, or what if this is just NFL 2.0? I don't really worry about that as much, but I will say the NFL is the most successful sports league in the world. And so, like, what if it is NFL 2.0? Great. We will have good leadership that does things the right way and doesn't screw over student athletes. And so, good. Like, I obviously want the game on Saturday to remain our game. But, like, if the NFL model is what we go to, or the way that the NFL runs things, good. It will be effective. And we will get rid of this dumb, good old boys crap that we've got going on now. Now, I like college football more than I like the NFL, right? And so that's fine. But I don't want the actual game to change, but like the leadership has sucked for a long time. The people that the money has gone to have sucked for a long time. And so that's kind of where I look at it and say, yeah, could it ruin things? I mean, I guess, but is the sport not already ruined? Is it not at least worth trying something new? So I don't know. Yeah, if it's just FSU but I agree with you. If it's just FSU on their own, somewhat, does that worry me? Yes. If it's everybody going to it, and this is just kind of like the new way of the world's in the sport, I think I'm pretty good with it. We will get right back to talking about big money in college football, but first, I've got something for you guys. I've been telling you about the Mango Board and our friends over there, and we want to hook one of you up. June is National Mango Month, and I'm partnering with the Mango Board to give you guys free mangoes for a month, plus a Mango Board swag bag, which is going to come with a cutting board, a tote bag, a garnet tumbler, and maybe a few other goodies. I'm going to pick a winner in the next week, but there are 2 ways to enter. 1, just comment mango on this video. Number 2, grab a mango on the next trip that you take to your local grocer and just tag me in the Mango Board on Twitter. It's mango_board on Twitter. For an extra entry, you can follow them on either YouTube or Twitter and let us know about that. Now, no purchase is necessary. You must be 18 or older to enter, but I appreciate the Mango Board for their support of FSU athletics, and good luck to you guys out there.
Yeah, and to your point, TJ, the sport, like, we have a guy that committed to Miami, committed to Florida, signed with Arizona State, transferred to Georgia, and is now suing Florida's coach. Like, this is just a crazy world that we're in terms of college football. And I don't think this will be the first situation. And as much as I love to troll Florida fans, this is going to continue to happen. And it's, this is the world we live in. And either you love it, you love college football enough to where you can put up with all this BS, or you just can't deal with it and you get out. And that's cool too. Like, I understand it. I love this sport way too much. It was my first love. I will watch it regardless, no matter how many circus events we have. And I feel like we have a lot more to come in the future.
I will say I am glad that UF seems to be in the middle of every bit of drama and every circus event. And, I've given my thoughts on that on different shows, but yeah, it's hilarious to watch them be in the middle of it. Yeah. And I don't know where this ultimately lands. I don't know what ends up happening with it. Obviously, if FSU was to have some of that money, how does that free some things up? Are they able to expedite some? Do they have a little bit more wiggle room, right? Like, I don't necessarily know that it like speeds anything up incredibly. Maybe that's the kind of debt you take on to get you out to once you settle, right? If you settle for 150 million or 200 million, like maybe that's the way that you just kind of pay it off pretty quickly. I would think you could pay that off fairly quickly in the, once you're in a new conference, just based on the gap of revenue that you're making, but maybe you structure it out to a way where you pay it off over 30 years and it's not as big of a hit to the bottom line, but I don't know, man.
ACC will not be around in 30 years.
Oh no! If you took the money from private equity to pay off the ACC right away, you'd have to pay them back. And so,
hopefully, Drew Weatherford has been in contact with Bruce Koepka because he took that money and he's doing all right.
You would think that Drew could cut us a little bit of a break, right? Like give everybody else like a terrible interest rate and hook us up pretty good, right? Like wouldn't that
give me 4.5%? Come on, come on, Drew.
Give us a pre-inflation house mortgage rate, Drew. So we'll see. Speaking on the ACC, I chatted with Doug Rohan this week. If you didn't catch all the updates there, do me a favor and click on the screen right now to check those out.